Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Mataji, welcome to today's class. So we covered verse 20 up to 1 to 20 yesterday session. Today we'll continue. But before continuing, let us make prayers to Shri Radha Govindji, the presiding deity at ISKCON Temple, Mangaluru, Kulai, and also pay our obeisances to His Grace, Namnis Das Prabhuji, the president of the temple, by whose mercy we are able to communicate on this platform and hear the message of Lord Krishna. Om Agyan Timirandasya Gyananjan Shalakya Chakshurunvinitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namah. Om Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Peshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedant Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharni Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Desh Tarni Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakt Vrinda हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता श्री राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरे प्रिये हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम
Hare Ram,
हरे
Ram
हरे.
Ram, Hare Hare,
Thank you,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, Mataji, for joining. So we, in the beginning of this chapter number 13, we know Arjuna puts 6 questions to Lord Krishna, and these questions have already been discussed partly in different chapters, particularly chapter number 7 and chapter number 2, the Jeev, Ishvara, Prakriti, Purush, and these aspects were, and Super Soul also, they were discussed earlier also. Now it is a great philosophical explanation or jnanam of all these things. First was Prakriti, the material nature, which is the result of Lord's creation, so that living entities can enjoy their desires or do sense gratification. Second was Purush, the enjoyer. There were 2 enjoyers, the individual enjoyer, that is soul, and the supreme enjoyer, Lord Krishna himself, who is present everywhere. And whereas this individual enjoyer or the individual is only concerned with. And Kshetra, that was the field of individual, the field. Kshetra means the individual person's body, and the individual was aware of his individual body only, whereas Supreme Lord was aware of all the bodies, or that is all the bodies on the planet or universe. Then Kshetragya, the observer in the whole body, that is, there are 2 observers. One is soul and the other is super soul. Then Jnana was the understanding the soul and the super soul, and Gayam was the Paramatma feature, that is only super soul. So this is what we have learned so far, and we passed through all these kind of information. Then we talked about 5 levels of human consciousness, and then what was the qualification required for attaining this knowledge that is mentioned here. Those were 20 qualities here. Then this was the knowledge is knowledge flows from Lord Krishna, because Krishna is the source of knowledge. He gave to the heart of Ved Vyas Muni all the knowledge by the virtue of which he could compile all the scriptures, and references are made to scriptures by acharyas in order to substantiate their stand or conviction. Whereas Krishna is the source, he does not need any kind of reference, because he is the source of knowledge and ultimately. So we have covered up to this point how this transformation or life form is changing, because Lord, out of his loving, as a loving Father, sitting in our heart as super soul, grants our wishes, and by virtue of minute independence granted to soul, he permits his child to enjoy in whatever mode he wants to enjoy. He does not interfere. He is just Updrashta, and he is just an Anumanta. He is a permitter and he is an overseer only. So this is the verse we shall start today. कार्य कारण कर्तत्वे हेतु प्रकृति रुच्यते पुरुषः सुख दुखानां भोक्तृत्वे हेतु रुच्यते. Nature is said to be the cause of material activities and effects, whereas the living entity is the cause of the various sufferings and enjoyments in this world. We sometimes, blame Lord that why this bad thing has happened to me, why I'm suffering. So many kind of things. But the sufferings or the happiness is our own creation. We are we are the drafter of this situation. Why? Because we, as a soul, as a condition, as a soul, which takes birth, at that time it is Shashwat, pure, without any contamination, without any coverings. When it comes with the contact with the material nature, but the soul gets a glance of Lord Krishna, and immediately the material nature fashions or facilitates the types of form, types of life form, or type of body, which is required as per the subtle body's desires, and also the mode in which the person died in the earlier stage. And that is propensities and the desires which were carried forward from the last verse, they decide the form of life. So this picture is said to be, this is a living entity who is indiscriminating eating whatever food which is not patram pushpam phalam toyam. Lord says that he is pleased by eating those things. So when he is offered these things, but here this person is eating something in a mode of passion and ignorance. So ultimately, this super soul watches this tendency and grants the person in next form of life as per the desires of this person, because the person is so grossly engrossed in the satisfaction of his satisfying his senses, that the same tendency is carried forward to the next form, and ultimately he gets a life form of a hawk who eats indiscriminately, does not discriminate between good thing and bad thing. Now, nature is said to be the cause of all material activities. We are forced aniksham balad. We are forced to act in a particular mode because that is Lord is granting that to happen, and that is what our desire is. So basically, nature just facilitates. It is not the cause of our happiness or distress. So happiness and distress are there because we want to enjoy independent of Krishna. We don't want to. We don't ask super soul at all. We want whatever our senses, whatever our mind and intelligence and soul desires, that is happening. So when Lord Krishna glances at the soul, then, and based on our desires, a new form of life is created. Now, this life, when it comes in material nature, then there are two things which happen. Firstly, based on the mode of material nature, it assumes a form, number one. Secondly, material nature facilitates or provides equal opportunities so that person can enjoy. Why this is happening? Why super soul is not interfering? Because super soul or the Paramatma has given minute independence to the soul so that he can enjoy. So Krishna is just Updrashta and Anvanta. He is permitting everything. Whatever living entity desires does not interfere. Now there could be an example here. Now if a child, the father gives some money to the child and out of pleasure, he may ask, yes, what are you going to do? But ultimately he leaves it on the child how to spend the money. Similarly, Supreme Personality of Godhead is permitting our desires to be fulfilled in the way we want to do it. So Krishna is not partial, basically. We sometimes blame Krishna for our sufferings. So, but we are the cause of, nature is not the cause. Krishna is not the cause. We ourselves are cause of our sufferings and our distresses and also happiness. Yes, anybody would like to read? Purush.
Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Purushah prakritisto hi bhunte prakritijan gunan karanam guna sangosya sadasat yoni janmashu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mother. The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life based on their mode. Enjoying the three modes of material nature, this is due to his association with that material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil amongst various species. Now, we can see here from aquatic life to surface life, and then birds and insects, and thereafter there are animals here, and ultimately the human form of life. This is how gradual. Now, once a person attains a human form of life, it is not guaranteed that next time also the next form shall be of human being. It may be lower, and this is the biggest danger or fear of human living entity, that they may fall down to a lower species form of life. That is the biggest fear. So depends in what contact what type of our company is, what kind of people we associate with. So if we associate with good people, and then probably the mode of goodness will prevail upon us. So in the mode of goodness, there is happiness, there is unlimited knowledge, and besides that, there is freedom from sin also, and there is a feeling of doing welfare activities also for the others, and there is control of senses and mind in mode of goodness. And in next stage, the person is willing to render a karma and wants to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead also. So this is Purusha Prakisisto hi bhumte prakriti jan gunan karanam gun sangasya. The karanam gun sangosya, that is most important. The reason of our suffering and our happiness, or distress and happiness, are karanam gun sangosya. Whatever mode of material nature we have inherited, that is the cause of our suffering. And so this association of particular type of material mode results into either our elevation to a higher form or to a lower form. Yes, Mataji, continue.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah, please continue.
उपद्रस्तानुमन्ता च भरता भोक्ता महेश्वरः परमात्मेति चाप्युक्तो देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः परः. Hare Krishna.
Yet in this body there is another a transcendental enjoyer who is the Lord. Now, so we know that there are two enjoyers. One individual enjoyer who wants to enjoy independent of Krishna, who does not want that super soul should enjoy. And there is another enjoyer, he is the super soul, the Supreme Lord himself, present in our heart. So he is the Lord, the Supreme Proprietor. He is the owner of everything, the material nature included, who exists as the overseer and permitter. Overseer means upadrashta, and anumanta. He permits, like a loving father, as I mentioned. Loving father, and he has given minute independence to soul also to act the way it wants to, based on the three modes of material nature. So this is the Gayam. The object of knowledge is Gayam, that we have a presence of Paramatma or Super Soul in our heart, and who is not only loving but also permitter and overseer. He oversees only things. There is a analogy here. There are two birds sitting on different branches. One bird is enjoying the fruits of a flower, and the other bird is watching. So the other bird, which is watching on a higher branch, is in the form of Paramatma, and the one who is eating is the living entity, in fact. So basically, in mode of, whether we are in mode of goodness or mode of passion or mode of ignorance, accordingly we associate with the material nature. We act according to our mode of nature, and want to enjoy the fruits. But in mode of goodness, there is some better state as compared to mode of passion. In mode of passion, there is lot of hankering, there is lot of desire for sense gratification, and for sense gratification one does lot of endeavor, lot of hard work, because there is so much hankering for fulfilling the desires. He has to work hard, and by working hard he earns more. When he earns more, he wants to satisfy his own senses as well as the desires of his family members. So this is a vicious cycle, and all such activities are fruitive activities. They are sakam karma, resulting into binding. Whereas the person in the mode of goodness, his activities are not binding. Though we'll come to know that there is some kind of binding to the cycle of birth and death. We will learn it in subsequent. And in mode of ignorance, person is totally sleepy, he is indolent, he is lethargic, he is crazy, he is mad, and he does not follow any kind of scriptural injunctions. Rather, he works in a pattern which is called bikarma, against the sanctioned. So Lord is permitter, as we said. Yes, one who understands this philosophy concerning material nature, the living entity, and the interaction of the mode of nature is sure to attain liberation. He will not take birth here again, regardless of the present position. Now, mere understanding this philosophy, that means gaining this knowledge. What is this knowledge? What is the material nature, the living entity, the soul, and how does living entity or the soul interacts with the material nature of Prakriti and wants to enjoy. So one who knows, who is able to discriminate between the two things, that why this living entity has to act or come in contact with the material nature to the minimum, so far as self-sense gratification is concerned, but rather uses this material nature or the facilities of material nature for service and pleasure of Krishna. One who knows this fact is sure to attain liberation. This is a divine assurance again here. He will not take birth here again, regardless of the present position. Present position means whatever our position may be, whatever our mode may be at the moment. But we are able to identify this fact, then there shall not be any binding to the cycle of birth and death. So this is what is mentioned here. And
Prabhuji, one query.
one picture you can see, just a minute, Prabhuji. You can see the picture. This is Sukhdev Maharaj, Sukhdev Goswami Maharaj, and Parikshit Maharaj. He is giving lessons on Srimad Bhagavatam, and great sages, all including the Sukhdev Maharaj. He was also present here, listening to these glories of Sri Krishna in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. Yes, Prabhuji.
This slide, the previous slide, we had spoken about the super soul. So just one query with respect to the super soul. Actually, you had mentioned in the beginning that the soul is very small in size. 1/10 of you said no something.
Yeah.
It is the
One
size
upon
of the soul.
1 upon 10,000 part of the tip of a scalp hair. That is the
Yes,
size.
1 upon 10,000 part of the tip of the
Hair.
hair.
Yes.
So now my query is they say that even the soul is also a part of Lord Krishna, and the super soul is also Lord Krishna. So if you can explain the exact difference between the soul and the super soul, what is the size of the super soul then?
Size of super soul is said to be almost 8 inches. The distance between the ring finger and the thumb. So this is said to be 8 inches. It is also residing in the heart. Super soul is both are expansion or representation of Lord Krishna, presence of Lord Krishna. Please mute. There is a lot of background. So super soul is present in the heart, soul is present in the heart. Super soul is individual soul. Super soul is Paramatma, who is present in the heart of every living entity, and he is the supreme enjoyer. He is the super enjoyer, whereas the individual soul is enjoyer of the particular material body only. So soul both, but soul gets conditioned. Super soul does not get conditioned by material nature. We know Krishna is the controller of 3 modes of material nature. So soul gets contaminated when it comes with the material nature, based on the mode of material nature. But the super soul remains untouched, it is infallible. It is called Achyuta. It does not fall down its position. It does not get contaminated because it is direct representation of Lord Krishna himself. This
And in the yogic
super soul is
language, in the yogic terminology, does the super soul and soul both form part of the causal body? There are three types of body, right? Physical body
subtle.
and
I don't know that
subtle body
much, Prabhuji. There
and the
is
causal
gross
body.
body and subtle body. Gross body we have discussed is Annamaya Kosh, and the subtle body is mind, intelligence, and false ego. These are three labels which make up subtle body, and there is soul thereafter. So soul and
Okay,
subtle body, they transmigrate after death.
and the super soul also.
Super soul, of course, sleeps. That
So
person
super
individually
soul,
dead.
soul. So
No,
there are
super soul returns to Lord Krishna, and the soul gets another form of life based on our karma and desires.
okay, understood, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. So,
Hare Krishna.
this is Parikshit Maharaj receiving instructions from Srimad Bhagavatam from Sukdev Goswami. Some perceive the soul within themselves through meditation, others through the cultivation of knowledge. Now, this is another aspect. Pure devotional service is one method by which a devotee can understand the presence of soul and super soul within himself, and he can distinguish these soul and super soul, clearly discriminate between the soul, super soul, and the material body. So this is the status of devotee. Now, how do others perceive this super soul within themselves? Through meditation or through cultivation. That is through Ashtanga Yoga or Dhyan, and other by the Gyan Yoga. And still others through fruitive activities, some through Nishkam Karma Yoga. So there are three levels of understanding of two levels of understanding. First is for the devotee, and second is for other class. Other class means yoga, Gyan Yoga, and Karma Yoga. So super soul can be known, but as we know, remember the analogy, reaching the top floor of a multi-story building was easier with an elevator rather than using stairs. So super soul, this knowledge of soul and super soul dawns easily on a devotee as compared to the Karma Yogi or Gyan Yogi or Ashtanga Yogi. So this is how we can understand. The super soul is perceived by some through meditation, by some through the cultivation of knowledge, and by others through the Nishkam Karma Yoga or work. So Devhuti is receiving instructions from Kapil Dev, who is her son. Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death. Now, again, Shravanam. Shravanam has been given so much of importance in entire Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna has said now to Arjuna, now listen, now hear from me, now listen to me, or so this Tat Shrunu, so many times Lord Krishna has addressed like this. But from whom? We discussed this point earlier also, whom we should hear from only authorized bona fide spiritual masters who are from disciplic succession, because they have seen the truth. They know, they are Tattvadarshi. They have already seen the truth, and they can transmit the truth as they have learned from their spiritual master, and he also again from his spiritual master. So that this chain of disciplic succession is very important. We should not hear spiritual contents or matters from those who are not from disciplic succession. So now hearing is very, very important again here. Now when we hear, some kind of attachment develops. Attachment results into some kind of faith, and then there is more inquisitiveness to know more and more. So this is how this cycle of faith develops when this happens. So there is another example here. Then when the Prabhuji, you asked about soul and super soul. So, when a person dies, normally people say, rest in peace. What rest in peace? The soul. So soul is contaminated. Soul is full of desires. So the super soul, it is a prayer. Rest in peace is a prayer to the super soul that please protect this soul. Take the soul under your care and give comfort and peace to the soul. That is what is sometimes said. So now at this stage, Krishna has virtually answered all questions, all 6 questions, because super soul was the game or the last question or 6th question. But what is the benefit of this knowledge? Lord Krishna here says, has already said, that by attaining this knowledge, one becomes free from sin, one becomes purified and can attain my nature. So all vision is that ultimately by hearing from right source, one can transcend the cycle of 3 modes of material nature and transcend the cycle of birth and death and attain nature of Lord Krishna, or can reach his destination or his Goloka Vrindavan. O Chief of Bharata, next verse. Whatever you see in existence, both moving and unmoving, is only the combination of the field of activities and knower of the field. So why the person, the basic question comes here, why people take birth and why people, fall down to a lower forms of species of life. That is because of the combination of field of activities, that is body, and the knower of the field, that is soul. So soul desires and the material nature fulfills that desire, gives a particular kind of form of life form, and the person enjoys the material nature. Person wants to enjoy material nature for fulfilling his sense desires. He forgets that there is another enjoyer who is Supreme Personality of Godhead present in his heart in the form of super soul. But both are encased in the, both soul and super soul are encased in the body of the person, that is embodied. They are both soul and super soul are embodied in the living entity. But they are, the super soul is not touched by any of the things because it is Achyuta, it is infallible, it remains aloof, but it only permits and oversees, it does not interfere. So the cause, ultimately, the soul, which is contaminated by coming in contact with material nature, wants to enjoy and based on his mode of material nature. So we have to understand this fact in the correct perspective. Then that there are 2 enjoyers. One is individual enjoyer, and the other is. So this is the person. This is just a graphic representation here. A person wants to acquire certain kind of knowledge, and the knowledge, there is super soul and super soul in his heart, and knowledge is flowing through them. That is what he is learning. So both activity is taking this place. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinastvasva abhinashyatvam yah pashyati sa pashyati. One who sees the super soul accompanying the individual soul in all bodies and who understands that neither the soul nor the super soul is ever destroyed actually sees. Prabhuji, this is the answer to your question, that sa yah pashyati sa pashyati means that real knowledge is that one should know that soul and super soul are present in the material body, and one who understands this fact that Lord is residing in my heart in the form of super soul. So that is actual seeing, and such a person becomes it becomes isthit pragya. Isthit pragya means that he is in a state of equanimity. So in Bhagavadgita earlier we read that Brahma Bhut Prasannatma na Shochati na Kanchati. Brahma Bhut, person who is established in equanimity or who is established in Brahman effulgence, he doesn't have any desire, or he doesn't even lament for anything good or bad. So this is the application of this knowledge. Knowledge, what was the knowledge? That the body is independent, the body is separate from soul and super soul. One who becomes established in this fact, then he is neither suffers any kind of misery nor happiness or distress, because then even after coming in contact with material nature, he remains unaffected. So similarly, there is we can exemplify Srila Prabhupada from this point of view. He was Brahma Bhut Prasannatma Sochati Naga. At the age of 69 years to 77 years, earlier he had so many health issues. He had so many odds against living and against food and all and environment. But he was committed to his spiritual master's words, and that he traveled, and whatever physical infirmities or diseases happened, he never bothered about it, but he was proactively working for spreading Lord's message, which was the instruction of his spiritual master. So, because he had faith in Krishna, and the faith was reflected in actions, that is what he did, translated so many scriptures, wrote so many books for our people. So, the one who has, in fact, real knowledge, his vision sees the Supreme Lord distinct from Jiva. That means he sees body, he sees that body is material, he sees that soul and super soul both are, eternal, and they are located in the, though they are located in the heart of the person, but super soul does not get contaminated in heart. So, but how this kind of vision is possible? Now the question comes, one who sees the super soul accompanying the individual soul in all bodies, and who understands that neither the soul nor the super soul is ever destroyed, actually sees. So this is knowledge. But how to see? What we see normally, we identify a person by his bodily structure, form, his dress, his position, or his social status or political status. This is our criteria of understanding the people. But here we do not see that he is embodiment of soul and super soul. He is embodiment of Paramatma. So this attitude, this vision, how to attain this vision, and what is our current situation, that is described in. So this is a picturization of that Paramatma form of Lord, is a feature of God, is present in the heart of all living and non-living, as well as the animals, human being, aquatic, birds, insects. Every heart has got presence of super soul. So, verse number 29. Anybody would like to read this one? Mataji, you were reading. Samam Pashyan hi sarvatra samavasthit Ishwaram. Anybody would like to read? Any devotee? Okay. Samam Pashyan hi sarvatra sam avasthitam Ishwaram nahi satyatma atmanam tato yati param gatim. One who sees the super soul in every living being and equal everywhere does not degrade himself by his mind, thus he approaches the transcendental destination. We have heard this 5.18 verse earlier. Vidya Vinay Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Shuni Chaiv Shapake Cha Panditaha Samdarshana. One who sees because of education or because of his knowledge, all, whether it is a dog eater, a brahmana, a cow, or an elephant, with equal consideration, rather sees in all of these the presence of Supreme Lord in the form of Paramatma or Super Soul. He actually thus he approaches the transcendental destination. That means he goes to Goloka Vrindavan, the abode of Lord Krishna. The purpose of this verse is that we have to visualize an individual or a living entity not by his physical form or other considerations, but see him as a representative of Lord himself. One who can see that all activities are performed by the body, which is created of material nature, and sees that the self does nothing, actually sees. So this is another sa pashyati. That means we consider ourselves as the doer of things. We think that we are doing this thing, but it is not happening so. What is the fact? We are forced to act as per the mode of material nature. So activities are performed by body, which is creator of material nature. The soul does not do anything. It is the material body which is doing. We know that we have got this sense organ of action and sense organ of perception, which are part of the body. And objects of, they are the object which are perceived by our sense organs. So these activities are performed by the material body. And why this material body? Because the soul had a desire to fulfill certain pre-existing desires, and based on our karma, the material nature has provided us body. So the body wants to fulfill this based on the our prakriti or our desires or mode. The prakriti gives her this opportunity and also fulfills our desire. So the activities are not performed by soul. The activities are performed by the material body, which is created by our desires only. So one who can see this, there are activities that are performed by body created by material desire, material nature. Like you see, Lord has, based on our mode of material nature, Lord has given us a machine, and the machine starts working according to mode of our material nature. So soul is not involved in these bodily activities ultimately. So, sorry, this again the same. What I can't read this here. The sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all-pervading. Similarly, in the soul, situated in Brahman vision, does not mix with the body, though situated in that body. Now, sky does not. Sky is located at a place where it does not mix up with any kind of thing. So that means soul also situated in the embodied body or material body does not mix with the cells or with the, though it is present there, it is providing consciousness to the cells and to the organs and to the entire human body, but it does not mix up. Now, analogy here is given of two things. A person is sitting in a garden or it's a park. The air he is enjoying, there may be aroma of flowers that he is enjoying here, but the aroma is just carried by the air. Air does not get mixed up with the aroma. Now, another analogy we can think of it is that the air is passing through, the park, the flowers, the mud, the stool, and all other kind of dirty things. It carries that aroma or fragrance or smell to the individual for perception, but it does not mix up. Air is completely free of all kind of mixtures. Similarly, the soul is also independent. Soul does not mix up with anything. So soul is, in fact, even it does not mix up with the body souls where it is. It does not mix up with the cells in the heart, because immediately on passing away or at the time of death, soul leaves. It does not carry anything of the material body along with it. So this is an analogy regarding the, we know that air is normally stationed in the higher reaches of sky only. It comes down to the earth, carries the aromas and fragrances and smells, but it does not mix with them, and it remains situated in the higher realm of skies only. O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity, one with the body, illuminate the entire body by consciousness. So the consciousness is a feature of soul. This is again asserted here. So sun is illuminating the fields. The result is there is a lot of activity. If there was no sun, probably activities will be minimized. So sun is illuminating the entire universe. Yes, but sun is not mixing with anything. Similarly, rather sun is energizing various kind of activities on the because it is causing water to evaporate, rains form the clouds, rains comes, there is a crop, and they are harvested, then food grains are there. From food, the life of animals, plants, and living entities are sustained, but the sun is aloof. It keeps on illuminating a thing, but it is not concerned with it. Similarly, soul, so there's a living entity, one within the body, that is living entity within it, that is the soul. It illuminates the entire body. It provides consciousness to all parts of the body, but it does not, in fact, mix with the body senses, such things. So similarly, soul provides, in fact, consciousness to all living entities, but it does not mix up with the living entity. So here, I think we come to end of this. There is one more verse. Fifth, this is last verse. One who knowingly sees this difference between the body and the owner of the body and can understand the process of liberation from this bondage also attains the supreme goal. So this chapter is basically describing of the nature, the enjoyer, and the consciousness. And the 6 aspects are Prakriti, Purush, Kshetra and Kshetragya, and Jnanam, and the Geyam, the object of knowledge. So one who understands that this body is simply a outer case for the soul and super soul, that real enjoyer is super soul, and the individual enjoyer is soul, that super soul is the knower of all the bodies and also the enjoyer of all the bodies, whereas individual soul is enjoyer of individual body only and also knower of the individual body only. And soul and super soul, they are part of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are eternal, divine, transcendental. Whereas soul gets contaminated with the 3 modes of material nature, the super soul does not get contaminated in any way. But like a loving father, it grants permission to soul to fulfill its desire. Because in 2nd chapter, we learned that like a loving father, super soul has given minute independence to the Lord, to the soul, so that individual, based on his mode of material nature, can enjoy the Prakriti or the material nature. And the most important thing was that we are the cause of our sufferings and happiness or distress. The Lord has got nothing to do. He is just Anumanta. He permits whatever we want. We want to take a course towards unhappiness, he permits. And like if we want to go for happiness, then that also permitted. So Lord is Anumanta, he is a permitter, and the Updrashta, that means he oversees only. He does not interfere in our minute independence. And this is the cause of our suffering, and because our desires are cause of, not the material nature. The material nature is also just a playground or just a facilitator so that we can fulfill our desire either towards happiness or towards distress. So this chapter is a bit philosophical and quite complex also to understand. But this Lord has assured here, the divine assurance is again there, that one who understands this fact attains my nature and reaches my abode. So this knowledge, sometimes we keep on blaming Lord that why I am such a good person, I have been doing so many pious activities, I have been so sukritis and everything, fasting and meditating and chanting, or why I am suffering. We forget that we are carrying lot or baggage from previous lives of our karma and desires, by which have forced us to this Ashvashat Dukhalayam, and we have taken birth here. The chance to go back to Godhead is here, not afterwards. So it is our choice. Lord has given our choice, whatever we want, whatever way we want to choose for our spiritual advancement or our fall down into lower form of life. So this chapter is philosophical, and Lord is giving this knowledge only so that we can be firm in our devotional service. As I mentioned earlier, and the purpose of Karma Yoga and the Jnana Yoga is to ultimate culmination into Bhakti Yoga, so that our faith with reasoning and logic through Jnana Yoga and by Nishkam Karma or Akarma can land us into pure devotional service. That is the purpose of this Jnanam And the benefit of Jnanam is that one becomes established in equanimity. He is equiposed, he is sthir dhir or sthir muni or sthit pragya, and then he is not affected by the dualities of. So such a person only can make progress in spiritual life. So this chapter, what we have learned here, this is just some summary. Arjuna asked 6 questions. We know that he put 6 questions: Kshetra, Kshetragya, then Prakriti, Purush and Prakriti, and the Jnanam and the Gyam. And each question was answered by Lord Krishna. Then the most important aspect was Gyam, that know the presence of Super Soul. And what are the qualities of Super Soul? What it does in the human body. And though encased in human body, material body, it is not touched or affected by any mode or any other activity. So then he described that Kshetra and Kshetrag and Jnana in 2 to 7. Process of acquiring knowledge, that was only through devotional service. Mai cha ananya yogena, that is Ananya Bhakti he talked about, 8 to 12. And Gyam, the object of knowledge, Sarvata Pani Padam, Tat 13 to 19 he mentioned, that was the Super Soul. Then Prakriti, Purush and Union, that is material nature. What happens when material nature, the Purush or the individual enjoyer comes in contact with the Prakriti or material nature, then what is the result? So Karnam Gun Sangosha, because of 3 modes of material nature, we suffer or we become happy. All activities are performed by us, not by the material nature, but by our material body, because of certain influence of particular mode of material nature. We also learned, we'll come and anyway, the prominence of that. Then vision of knowledge. What the basic purpose of this knowledge was that ultimately we render loving devotional service to Lord by knowing that soul and super soul are present in our embodied bodies. They are independent, they are not affected by anything, but soul gets contaminated when it comes in contact with material nature, but the super soul is infallible, Achyuta. So these are 35 verses from chapter 13. Anyone would like to ask any question or?
Prabhuji, yes, Prabhuji, one query. Can you go to the third last slide, please?
Sure, Prabhuji. You are asking
Yes.
this one?
Just one slide before this.
Yeah. Or still back?
No, this one only. Just a moment.
Mhm.
So this.
You are not audible, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, are you there, Prabhuji? I can't hear you. Am I audible? Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, can you hear me?
Prabhuji, I can hear you. Now it's okay.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's okay, Prabhuji. There are some
Yes.
issue at this end. Okay.
Some issue was there. Yes, Prabhuji, I was asking. So as per that slide which we are seeing right now, it says that whatever deed or task is being done by us, that is been done by the material body and not the soul. Correct?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So what we read in shlok number 9.27, that it says that whatever one does, that needs to be offered to the Lord. Offer it unto me. That is what Lord Krishna says to Arjuna. So this offering, whatever one does, this is also the doing of the body. He is mentioning about when he says whatever you do, offer it unto me.
Those
Is
are
it
two,
pointing out?
Prabhuji, those are 2 different aspects. In fact, here the emphasis is that whatever activities are performed, they are performed by the body, material body under influence of the material mode of nature. The particular, like a person who is in mode of ignorance. Now, his activities will be related to drinking, eating indiscriminately, acting against the injunctions of scriptures, of doing bikarma only, sleeping, madness, indolence, and crazy, and drinking, eating. This is this kind of a person in passion. He has lot of desires. He is very passionate about fulfilling his desires. He works very hard. A lot of endeavor, lot of economic development, earning lot of money, then buying more and more physical comfort goods, and thereafter satisfying his own needs and the needs of the family members. So these activities are performed by the material body to
So here
these
the activities are mentioned, the activities which he is talking about. Is it only the tamasic and the rajasic activities?
all activities, Prabhuji, even mode of
So,
goodness. When we come to
so
next chapter, then we'll know that all these activities are binding, whether we do any activity in mode of goodness or mode of passion or in mode of ignorance. All activities are binding, but the destination varies, of course. But when you mentioned about 9.27 that offer everything to me, then there is no bondage. When we offer results of all our activities in whatever mode we are there. Of course, we have to rise from ignorance to passion, passion to goodness. But if any activity is performed and if it is offered to God, it becomes sanctified or purified. Like I told you, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. So even those are offered to Lord. But these Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, they are living entities. And we have killed a living entity for our sense gratification. So, but we offer to Lord Krishna, then they become pure, purified, and sanctified. Then it is not a sin to eat them. But without offering food to the Lord and consuming for one's own sense gratification or satisfaction, that amounts to eating sin. If we are not offering anything to Lord and consuming for our own satisfaction or our own pleasure, then it becomes a sin, eating sin. It becomes such bad thing. So here, two things are different here. Whatever we do, we should offer it to Lord first. That is the essence of 9.27. Here,
so this doing consists of both good doing and bad doing. Correct?
Anything, a person, that is how the gradual elevation from mode of ignorance to passion to this goodness will come. In fact, in the next chapter, when we read, then a person in mode of ignorance has no concept of, he has no knowledge, and he does not want to offer anything to anybody else. Now, passion, a person in passion is always concerned with satisfaction, satisfying his own needs and desires and that of family members. Sometimes he's in a mode of goodness and then he does charitable work, which is good for, but sometimes there is again a problem. It is again creates bondage because then he wants a publicity in newspaper where his name is there. So such activities, they create again some kind of reaction, and reaction results into bondage, into the cycle of birth and death. Similarly, in mode of goodness, this is chapter number 14, which I am talking about, and we will take it tomorrow. In mode of goodness, there is also problem. A person in mode of goodness is also not perfect, but he has a lot of knowledge, but he is proud. He is happy because he possesses something which others do not possess. And this sense of happiness and sense of satisfaction and sense of pride, it again causes a bondage into the cycle of birth and death. Whatever good work
But here, Prabhuji, the mode of goodness you are talking about, if that mode of goodness is like the goodness which Yudhishthir had, without any pride and without any ego, that goodness is good, no?
Of course, certainly. No, but at the same time, it was transcendental to three modes of material nature. We will read this in next chapter, Prabhuji, because mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance, all are binding. The problem is mode of ignorance, person falls down to the lower kingdom or lower form of life, lower species of life. The mode of passion, probably may get a life in this earthly planet, and again seek the association of fruity workers and continue the cycle of birth and death. Happiness, distress, distress, happiness, this will continue. The person who is in mode of goodness, he, by virtue of his sukrati, or by virtue of his good or pious deeds, or the knowledge, he may elevate to higher planets, where he enjoys the comforts, the royal comforts of the heavens. You know, there are a lot of somras and apsara, but there he forgets chanting of all, he forgets devotional service. So as soon as the count of goodness becomes zero, the balance is zero, credit is negative or equal to, then he returns to the earthly planets again. So one has to rise above these three modes of material nature and attain the nature which is called transcendental nature. Transcendental nature is also called as Shuddha Sattva, the mode which Lord Krishna enjoys. One has to rise above the mode of goodness to the Shuddha Sattva state in order to transcend this influence of these three modes of material nature. All, even including the mode of goodness, as we will read in the next chapter, are not good, they are binding.
So doing devotional service, unconditional devotional service to God with a lot of passion and determination, that is given in 12.14.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Devotional service to me.
Yeah,
so
this
that
is
is also in mode of goodness only, no, Prabhuji, if
yeah,
I'm not wrong.
Prabhuji, perfectly correct. Because the lust has got two meanings now. Intense desire to possess something is lust. Now, intense desire to possess a material object is lust in material sense. Intense desire to serve Lord unconditionally, apratihata, and without any motivation, without any uninterruption. So that lust is good, spiritual lust. That is mentioned what you're talking about. So lust is good when it is for spiritual purposes or spiritual advancement. But for
Yes,
lust,
but then that mode of goodness also, you are saying one has to come over it.
yes, one has to rise above those things. This is the subject matter of next chapter, probably. You're very interesting.
It's actually a very difficult thing to do in real life.
Yes. But there have been people who have done it, Prabhuji. That is their source of inspiration for all of us. So anyway, this is Lord Krishna's message. It is.
Yes, true, Prabhuji. We'll try our level best.
Vaishnava, like Arjuna, he said, Kansalah Mana Krishna. He said, very difficult. I can control the movement of air, wind, but I can't control my mind. So when people like him were so helpless, so far as mind and its vagaries are concerned, what to talk of us mortals who do not know ABC of even spirituality? Isn't it, Prabhuji? So
Correct, Prabhuji, correct. I got you.
thank you, Prabhuji.